Good morning and welcome to Condo Craze and HOAs on our YouTube channel, Condo Craze and HOAs. I'm Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer. He is with Glazer & Sachs right here in Broward County, Hollywood. And he is board certified by the Florida Bar. A handful of attorneys are in condominium and plan development law. And of course, he has a firm with attorneys here in Fort Lauderdale and in Orlando. And we're here each week to answer all your calls, your questions in the chat box about anything in your condo or HOA that makes you absolutely crazy from 1 minute to the next. And we'd love to get the phone lines going early. So give us a call at 717-GLAZER-8. That spells out or is 717-452-9378. And also you can ask a question in the chat box. Some people do both.
Yes, they do.
Which is fine. And Eric will answer your questions one by one.
They do both because everybody that I meet at these shows says it's very difficult to get through. We understand it. You know, we have when we hang up the show,
people waiting.
Like 30 people.
Yeah.
So, we apologize for it. So try to get your calls in early. And of course, if you're a fan of the show, don't forget to subscribe to two things. Number one, of course, the Condo Craze and HOA's YouTube channel. There's so much on there. There's such a great library. Each week as we do another show, there's another topic that's there to research.
And I see people go back and
time.
Access the shows that we did in the past.
All the time. It's a great research tool.
And you never know. Your question may be answered by someone else asking the same question.
Absolutely. So again, you miss a show, you can watch a previous show. And of course, subscribe to our email list, because by subscribing to our email list, you're going to get announcements about the show. You'll find out about new laws. You'll find out when our seminars are, and a whole lot
How many on the email list?
10,000. I think it's 10,100 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We keep a lot of people informed. That's what we're here for.
And don't forget that you can always follow the show on Facebook, TikTok, Apple, Spotify, any platform where you get your podcast.
Yes.
And subscribe.
And of course, every Monday we do a blog at hoa-condoblog.com. Again, hoa-condoblog.com. Last week we did a blog called, Hey, What's Your Problem?
What's the matter, you?
Next week it's, Hey, did we leave out anything? Yeah. And we list all the potential problems that can possibly happen in an HOA and a condo. And I'm sure I left out some. And I asked our listeners and our readers, let us know what we left out.
Oh, my God. That's brilliant. I love it. So it seems like lack of enforcement is an issue. People want the DBPR to finally have some teeth. And I witnessed something this week. I was watching one of the Florida lawmakers, the panels passing one of your laws.
It's going through so far.
Well, it's a bill. So
flying colors, Karen. But you know what? Before we get going, I just want to do two things. I want to thank the mob.
Oh, yes.
That actually showed up at the Condo Craze board certification class in West Palm Beach this week. Great class. Lots of fun. And if you were there, hey, give us a call. Give us a call. Let us know, how you felt about the seminar. Let us know if you think condo education should be mandatory.
You're calling them a mob?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, we had so many people. It's really, really great. And here's what's wonderful. The class ended. I walk outside and I get a call on my phone from House Representative David Barrero. And why is Representative Barrero calling? To wish me congratulations on the education bill, because it's going through. Period.
That's the whatever committee I was watching. That's the one I saw him pass.
It's flying through the
because I called you right after he did.
Exactly. It's a matter of days probably before it gets a vote on the floor. And I'm not celebrating anything yet.
Not yet.
Let it get to the finish line. Let the governor sign it.
We've
and
been
then we'll have a freaking party and we'll go from there.
Party?
Yes, we should have a party,
yes.
Right? Exactly.
I love it.
We were talking about enforcement that you brought up. And yes, people do want to see the DBPR have some more teeth. Is that another bill that's going to be going on? And believe it or not,
it's all added together.
It's all added. One giant condo bill this year. There might be one other, might be two, but there's one giant condo law bill that's going to contain a lot of things.
So it lowers the threshold to 25 units for people, for the condos that have to put their documents on a website.
We'll talk about that. Okay. There's so many things, Karen. And I think this year, but in terms of DBPR enforcement, those, we get calls week after week. The DBPR doesn't help me. They want DBPR to have more enforcement. Well, House Bill 1021, that's almost done. And here's what it says. The division shall, and we know we speak about that word shall all the time. Shall is must. refer to local law enforcement authorities any person whom the division believes has engaged in fraud, theft, embezzlement, or other criminal activity, or when the division has cause to believe that fraud, theft, embezzlement, or other criminal activity has occurred. That's one. Second bill, the division shall routinely conduct random audits of condominium associations to determine compliance with the website. I had a client once hit with a $5,000 penalty for failing to update the website, or application requirements for official records if the association is not giving access to official records. DBPR is going to be able to do like routine audits of this now.
Well, they have enough money to pay these people to do these jobs.
They're getting a lot more money too. Exactly. So
yeah, that should be interesting.
Here we go.
Yeah, and do you think it's going to lead to more criminal prosecutions of board members like the hammocks?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is,
that's really one of the cases that
I represented the hammocks for a while. I got out. All I can tell you is all hell broke loose,
yes.
Obviously. But do I think it's going to lead to criminal prosecutions of board members? Yeah, I do think it will, because the DBPR is now going to be mandated to refer these types of cases to law enforcement authorities.
That's right.
And remember, up till now, what's everybody's complaint? They
law enforcement says to handle.
Yeah, but what is the complaint about DBPR? We serve up a case of clear fraud to the DBPR, and DBPR says, not my job.
Yeah.
Right?
Not
my job. Yeah. We don't have jurisdiction over this. Case dismissed. So I think, that's probably going to change if they start doing their job. No question when this bill passes.
God, this is huge because, you always get calls about the board never having a meeting as well. But anyway, I think it's interesting that the hammocks was one of the big cases.
Yep.
And when this prosecutor, Catherine Fernandez-Rundle, went after them.
Yep.
That kind of set a precedent that this is a major problem.
Yeah, it is. It is a major problem.
And these board members better know.
And again, because, there's no fear factor. There really isn't much of a fear
now there
factor
should be.
Because, even when you serve it up to law enforcement authorities sometimes and make it easy, they look the other way and say, hey, it's a civil matter.
Right.
So I think, that's going to stop pretty much. Things are going to change. There's a new sheriff in town with these new laws.
Yes. Yeah. The complaint that we likely hear is a lack of transparency as well. The legislature tackling that issue this year as well.
It's certainly tackling lack of transparency. Another provision in House Bill 1021 is requiring boards to have more meetings with owners.
Good.
Okay, here's what the law says, because there are a lot of unit owners complain. Where is a board? We never see them. There's no meetings. So here's what this new bill says. In a residential condominium association of more than 10 units, the board shall meet once each quarter for the purpose of responding to inquiries from members and informing members on the state of the condominium, including the status of any construction or repair projects, the status of the association's revenue and expenditures during the fiscal year, or other issues affecting the association. I mean, these are mandatory meetings now.
Well, we always get calls. People, they didn't even hold a meeting for the election.
Right.
You have to have at least one meeting for the election.
So up until now, here's how it's been. Boards were only required to have 2 meetings a year. You were required to have a budget meeting and an annual meeting. That's it. That's what the statute basically required. And now it's a different story.
Good.
There's going to be at least 4 meetings per year, right? According to the statute, plus an annual meeting. So lots of changes are on the way. And of course, we're also going to have mandatory board education, it looks like, and mandatory disclosures by management companies. This is a big year.
The disclosures for management companies would be if they have any
conflict of interest. Exactly. So, it's like
about that last week.
A year where the legislature said, okay, we're going to tackle some of the nonsense that goes on in condominium associations. And it looks like it's going through.
Oh, it's 2024. What took so long to help these people?
It's not like condominiums were invented last week.
Half the state lives in a condo or an HOA. And this has been going on and
condos were built in the 50s. So we're talking about basically 75 years almost.
Yes.
To come up with a statute like this.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's how crazy it is. But Representative Vicky Lopez really went to bat for a lot of the condominium owners throughout the state, and Senator Bradley as well, absolutely. Yeah. And they really deserve a lot of credit.
And the website too, as I was mentioning, they've lowered that threshold. What was it originally? It was for over 500.
Right, and then I went up there. I said, "How about 50?" And now I wanted 50 units. Guess what? it's going to be 25.
I love it.
I mean, it's really amazing. So major changes. So when I wrote the blog last week, as I was saying about what's coming up next week, people ask, or I was saying, hey, what's your problem, right? And I couldn't help think when I wrote the blog this week about all the issues that can arise in a condominium or HOA, and it's really endless. That's why we need these statutes. That's why we need them. And here's some issues, right? Really quick, that are routinely litigated or arbitrated.
Okay.
Right? These are just things I deal with basically on a daily basis. Faulty elections, failure to hold meetings, failure to post notices, failure to pass a budget, failure to pay assessments, failure to provide access to records, parking disputes, noise disputes, pet restrictions, emotional support animals, water leaks, failure to do the year-end financial statements, failure to have or update the website, material alterations dispute, contract disputes, disputes with the management company or manager, and do we go to arbitration, mediation, or court? And of course, that's not everything.
How about a tree's blocking my view?
Right. All the time. All the time.
And as a result of the new laws that have been passed recently, we now also have the failure to do the milestone inspection.
These are new complaints that are coming up.
Failure to make the required repairs. Failure to do the required reserve studies, which they're saying, the people that do the studies aren't available, so we're just going to have to push that down the road. No.
That's failed. That's been pulled out of the bill.
Good.
They were going to get an extension of time removed from the bill. No extension.
And failure
December 31st, 2024 is still in effect.
Okay, so if you're kicking the reserve down the road,
better not.
And you think because you legally can, you should rethink it, right?
Correct. Exactly.
And failure to follow the requirements of the reserve study.
Right. Those are all going to be new complaints, and those complaints you're going to have to start out in mediation.
And if you think, well, no one's going to police it, you're wrong.
That's exactly, absolutely.
Because the teeth are now...
There's some teeth in the bill, right? You're going to be able to report it to the DVPR. You're going to be able to go to mediation, and then potentially court. So you wonder, you look at all these categories, and you wonder why the Florida Bar has made condominium and plan development law an area where Florida attorneys can actually get board certified.
Yeah.
This stuff is getting complicated.
It is.
This stuff is getting complicated. Now you know. But hey, let's see what our listeners think. We covered a lot of ground in this opening portion of the show. Give us a call here in the studio, 717-GLAZER-8. What do you think about these new laws? Again, 717-GLAZER-8. That's 717-452-9378. Or drop us a question in the chat box on the Condo Craze and HOA's YouTube channel. We'll be back right after this, guys.
Very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Oh no, an unexpected leak. Jake, you know that's no way to solve a roof problem. Call Best Roofing. We solve roof problems.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Rimkus Consultants offer the professional expertise to help condominium and cooperative communities provide safe, compliant buildings for their tenants. We have more than 170 Florida licensed engineers and architects who are experienced with local regulations and can assist with Senate Bill 4D compliance. We can help with milestone structural inspections, capital expenditure evaluations, structural integrity reserve studies, and developer transition reports. Focusing on energy, resilience, maintainability, and sustainability, our experts can help with every phase of the building life cycle. For mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkus.com.
Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. So we're having people asking, can we see you on TV? Yes. If you have an Apple TV, you can watch our YouTube channel and you'll see Eric and myself. Now, if you have HD TV, and be kind to us.
Exactly. Well, you know what? They should be watching TV today. Look at the weather.
Yeah.
God.
And the Daytona 500 canceled. This is a perfect day to tune
Stay in
this.
and just watch us,
Yes.
right? Okay. So let's go to some questions from the chat box. Kathy writes that if we post a caution, no swimming or water activities, stay out of the water around all our lakes in the community, does that get the association off the hook in the event of a tragedy? If you post signs, if you have lakes in your community, this is all over Florida, there's lakes everywhere. If you have no knowledge of, prior incidents or anything like that, I don't think the association has the obligation to put fences around every single lake in the community. Think about that. How that would look. It would tarnish, the way the community looks. Posting signs, I think, is a reasonable step. The question is, would the association be negligent somehow, right?
If they don't put the fence?
If they don't put the fence up. There's no requirement by law to put the fences up, right? So counties, the state say it's okay not to have these fences
There's
up.
a requirement to put them around your pool.
Swimming pool, right.
And, autistic children are attracted by water.
Yes.
And water features.
I'm
and
saying
so,
this respectfully to parents out there, but there's also an obligation to watch your child, right?
And then you've got the alligator situation where they're
that might be a totally different story.
Yeah.
You probably have an
Is the
obligation
fence going to keep
inspect
the alligator?
lake
Yeah.
and make sure there's no wild alligators in there. That's a little different. But no, I don't think there's anything in Florida that would warrant an association being found liable should a child, God forbid, go
if there's no fence.
If there's no fence.
But if there's no signage.
Yes.
But how can a child read the sign?
No, I understood.
That's really
but
to
all
the
you
parents,
can do
you're
is put
saying.
the parents on notice, like you don't see fences around lakes in communities. It's
No, you
simply
don't.
not there. So if associations could be found negligent, and insurance companies would certainly require it, and they wouldn't insure you, right?
You've got canals.
Right, all over the place, everywhere.
There's water
That
everywhere.
bothers me. I'll tell you the truth. It bothers me when I turn on the news and there's another car in a canal.
Oh, all the time.
Off roadways, when there's roadways, I think absolutely there should be guardrails. But
Yeah.
it's ridiculous
Yeah.
to keep turning the news on and there's
Yeah.
another person in the canal. So I think that's a project that the state should invest in and put guardrails around lakes where it's a potential for a car to wind up in the water.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
happened
2
before. Right,
cents.
the Turnpike extension. The
Yep.
5 women got run off the road.
Terrible.
All of them
Terrible.
died. It was terrible.
Ida writes in, our board is having a building insurance company meeting. We are told residents are not allowed. Is this legal? If a quorum of the board is going to be there, Ida, then the answer is it must be an open meeting where unit owners have a right to attend and speak. Okay, no, they cannot do it behind closed doors.
Or in the pool.
Or in the pool. They could bring the insurance guy in the pool and talk about it. But no, you can't do it that way. Bottom line is if there's a quorum there, it's an open meeting. Very few times you can have a closed door meeting. One is when you're talking with your attorney about legal advice, about a pending or imminent case, or 2, personnel matters. Other than that, it's a meeting. Who do we got, Rob?
Even if they're emailing each other.
That email's fine. That's the funny part. Yeah,
Okay.
I always tell that funny story.
That's right.
If 5 board members are sitting
In
in
the
the room and they're
emailing.
emailing each other, that's not a meeting.
Yeah, but if they're physically together, it's a
If
quorum.
they're talking, it's a meeting. Emailing, it's not a
It's not a quorum unless they're talking?
correct.
Is that written in the
that's
law?
exactly written
Holy
in the law.
smokes, that needs to be changed.
You think? Everybody laughs when I tell that story.
It's so funny.
Who do we got, Rob?
Let's go to our first caller. It's Jeff from Delray Beach.
Jeff, how are you, Jeff?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. I'll try to be
Sure
brief
thing. How
here.
can we help?
I'm the president of an over 55 condo association. We have a resident owner that has moved out of state. She's planning to fix her condo up and sell it, but she is out of state. In the meantime, a former friend of hers, who is not 55, but she had a key to the unit, so she has been coming and going and stealing the owner's property. She's been walking out with televisions and among other things. So she's taking things from the property. The owner was in a panic, and she asked us to have the locks changed. So she actually had the locks changed. When I assisted the handyman to change the locks to get in, the guest was in the residence. So they changed the locks, and we called the sheriff's department to have her removed from the property. The sheriff's department said that because she was once given access into the unit, she is required to be evicted through a legal process. And so apparently the owner can't change their mind, can't say that they don't want her there anymore, that she has every right to be in there. And I said, what about her stealing the televisions and walking out with property? The deputy said, how do I know whose television it is? So I said, so she can be in there as long as she wants during this 30-day process or 30-plus day process, and she can do whatever she wants in there. She could steal all the property. She could destroy the place, and there's nothing that anyone, law enforcement or the owners, can do. And he said yes. And he said, literally, he said, if you allow me to crash on your sofa for a couple of nights, then I never have to leave unless you evict me.
Hey,
Well,
Jeff, we see this on the news all the time.
On the floor. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we see this on the news all the time, where someone walks away from their house for a week, they come back, and there's a family living in there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the sheriff's office, basically won't get involved. It wouldn't go down that way in Brooklyn, I can tell you that, but that's how it is in Florida. The sheriff's office will not get involved, and especially where they know that the person that was in there at one time had the right to be there.
If she had
So
a
then
key,
they look at it as a personal dispute between two people. Let a judge figure it out so that the sheriff's office doesn't get sued for removing somebody illegally.
so she
That's how
didn't
they
even
look
have
at
the
it.
right to change the locks on her own house.
Or
Or does she have to give her a key?
If she's on the deed, I would change the locks. All I can tell you, I would certainly change it. And
But are you required to give the squatter a key?
she would argue that, and then it would be up to a judge. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Who knows if he was paying rent or not paying rent? She's going to argue, right? This is a personal dispute between two people. What I want to know, Jeff, is, why is the condo association getting involved in this dispute between two people, so aggressively? You got to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And only because the owner contacted me. Well, we were seeing, well, not me, but residents were seeing this person walking out with televisions and belongings. So people were
I got
concerned.
it. You contacted the police, but
And so
this is a dispute between two
we were able
people.
to track down the owner, and the owner said she's not supposed to be in there. She's not allowed in there. And so she asked us if we would find her somebody that could change the locks, and then she made the arrangement to change the locks.
Right. No, I hear you, Jeff. Hold up.
Yeah.
Now it's up to that owner to hire counsel, to file an eviction action of some kind, or an ejectment action, it's called.
Ejectment.
And ejectment, yeah, the owner can file for that and get the person out on an expedited basis.
And so
it's not up to the association to get involved here.
The trespassing statute doesn't hold. I mean, 810.09 that I read, where she could have her trespass even if she once was given access.
That's the problem. She was once given access, and that's why the trespass statute may not apply here, and you'd have to file separate actions for either eviction or ejectment. And I'm not so sure the eviction statute applies.
You take a White House tour. You're given access, so then I could just squat in the White House?
Good luck with that. Secret Service might have a problem. But, hey, she's got to do this on her own. She's got to come back from wherever she is, go to court, get the person out, okay? It's not for the association to do, okay? How about we go to the next
you.
call, Rob? You got it.
Interesting.
Yeah, our next caller is Estero, I think.
That's Robert, our man right there. He's responsible for this beautiful show.
Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Who is it from Estero?
Is it Sheldon?
Hello?
Who do we got from Estero?
Eric?
Is it you? Yes.
Yes, Eric, I have a, particular question regarding how two people on a board can hijack board meeting. What occurred was we recently had an election. The election went very smoothly. We have a 7-member board. 2 new people were elected. The president was then deposed and was no longer elected as president, but he is still a board member. The next day, 2 people resigned. So now there are 5 members on the board. They claimed that they could not hold a meeting because 2 of them didn't show up and held the board hostage because there's a dispute between the new president and the old president. And the old president claimed that since there were 7 members on the board, they had to have 7 members, and so 3 was not a quorum. However, our documents speak differently.
No, I agree. If
the
hold
articles,
up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you and there's a blog I once wrote about this too. You know, what is considered a quorum? If your documents require 7, then a quorum is 4. You're telling me you got down to a 5-member board, right? And 2 decided basically they're going to hold the board hostage and they're not going to show up. So now we're down to 3. That's right. You don't have a quorum.
However, the documents do not specifically say it must be 7. The documents say 3 to 7.
Right. Okay.
And by saying 3 to 7, the Articles of Incorporation simply say that there has to be a minimum of 3. So
okay, hang on. Let me answer you. Okay, so there's a lot of cases out there that say where there's a range of directors that's required, like no less than 3, no more than 7 in your case.
Yes.
Then the number is automatically by law 5. Okay, especially that's in cases where your documents don't specifically say how you arrive at the numbers between 3 and 7. Like, is there a procedure to decide how it's between 3 and 7? If there's no procedure, the number is automatically 5. That's what the number should be. So now if you have a 5-person board, a quorum would be 3. And now, you would have a quorum, in fact, even if those 2 don't show up.
Correct, and I'm so happy you said that because I said that was the case. However, the president, since he's so new and has not really, to the best of my knowledge, taken any condo certification course, was so unsure of whether he could hold the meeting or not. He didn't hold the meeting.
Well, why not get an opinion from the association's counsel? Where's the attorney? Right. The attorney should know this.
They claimed that the association manager called counsel and that the counsel said, no, because you had 7 for years, you have to have 7. So, but that, to me, that was hearsay. I've never heard of that.
Again, to me, it depends on whether or not your bylaws have a specific procedure to decide how you arrive at a number between 3 or 7. If there's no procedure, the fallback number automatically by statute is 5. You would be required to have a 5-member board. 3 is a quorum. And at that note, we got to take our bottom of the hour break. Interesting calls. You got it. Interesting calls.
What are they
interesting
trying to
writing.
accomplish, though, to get the old president back as president?
No, they
I don't know.
want a new board member, to elect someone that they didn't like.
Okay, to fill the vacancy. Got it.
That's correct.
Got it. Lots of problems in Estero. All right, let's take our bottom of the hour break. Taking your calls, taking your emails with a 717 Glazer 8.
That's right.
717 Glazer 8. That's 717-452-9378. And we will be back right here.
The future of fiber is here. QXC Communications is a fiber network engineering firm based in Boca Raton. We build fiber networks that deliver high-speed internet, Wi-Fi, HDTV, and voice services, primarily to Florida's condominium communities. QXC's AON architecture is the industry's best practice and a game changer for our customers. We run 2 dedicated fibers to each unit. No splitters, no cables. So, every resident gets uninterrupted blazing fast speed and military-grade data security. Our Wi-Fi 6 network deployment powers performance on multiple devices with no dead zones. And the QXC TV app makes everyday programming access a breeze with 3-day rewind and optional cloud DVR. QXC AON Fiber is where the industry is heading. Get connected today.
Is your condominium or HOA in need of accounting services? Look no further. Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg is one of South Florida's largest accounting and auditing firms, as recognized by the South Florida Business Journal, and is one of the few accounting firms uniquely specialized to provide accounting services to their growing condominium and homeowner association clientele throughout Florida. With primary offices in Aventura and Boca Raton, satellite offices in Naples and Orlando, and a professional staff of 65, Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg is prepared to meet the needs of any condominium or HOA in the state. The professionals at Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg also have experience working with timeshares, cooperatives, hotel condominiums, mixed-use buildings, and ancillary operations like restaurants, spas, and country clubs. Put their 25 years experience in your corner. Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg, 305-937-0116. That's 305-937-0116 or grgcpa.com.
Someday, you will need insurance. And for that day, you'll be glad you wrote down Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. Why? Because Insurco virtually insures everything. They're a full-line insurance agency that'll put together the best possible coverage and premium for almost anything. Need homeowners or condo insurance? Call Insurco. Need auto or motorcycle insurance? Call Insurco. How about golf cart insurance or trailer and RV insurance? Just call Insurco for a free quote. They're open every day. From renters insurance, officers and directors insurance, and personal liability umbrellas to all types of business insurance, boat insurance, cancer policies, life, health, and annuities. All you need is Insurco. Get a free quote. They service Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Speak English and Spanish. Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. It's the only name you need. Office at 14401 West Sunrise Boulevard in Sunrise, inside Edmore Chevrolet.
Call 954-846-1206. 954-846-1206. That's 954-846-1206.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Condo Craze and HOAs on our YouTube channel. Sorry, but you couldn't hear the callers, and so we're going to circumvent that till we get it fixed and take questions from you on our chat box, okay? So...
Unless, Rob, do you want to take a call?
You want to try to take a call, see if we can hear you?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Maybe some of the changes we made have fixed it. Just let us know, please. Okay, so who do we got?
We have Julia.
Julia.
Hey, Julia.
Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Karen.
Let us know in the chat box if we can hear.
The West Palm class was excellent, and I go
Thank
every
you so
so
much.
often, twice a year or once a year, and every time it's absolutely fantastic. So, Eric, thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Karen,
Julia.
we missed you there. We hoped you would show up. But...
Thank you.
Guys, just let us know if you hear Julia, okay, to see if these changes worked. I hope it did. Julia, how can we help?
So I have a comment and a question, if you don't mind. The comment is, it's very encouraging that the education bill is going to come alive. I would like to
Julia
mention
said she's
that
happy, not hearing
legal
her.
education
Okay,
is,
hold
legal
on,
education
Julia.
is only, hello?
Julia, we're going to take it slow because the callers can't hear you. So let's do basically a sentence at a time. Julia's saying she's very, very happy that the education bill is going through, but...
Go ahead.
So the but is the education needs to have more in it in addition to the legal aspect. It's like not seeing forest for the trees. There needs to be a financial
but the education needs to have more components. You need to have project management in there. Okay. Gotcha. Because you're saying because of all the new laws?
And they don't know what to do with them because they are absolutely incompetent in the areas of project management and finances. So,
right, but hold on, but because you're suggesting a project manager, but there are professional project managers that the board can hire. The board is not equipped to be a project manager over a major construction project. Nobody on the board would be equipped for that.
Exactly. But they need to have at least some rudimentary knowledge on how to conduct the business. And they
need some rudimentary course on how to manage a project. Especially picture, a community where everybody's basically 75 or over. It's going to be tough to have a situation. There's a no knock on people that are 75 and over.
Yeah.
You have people 75 and over on the Supreme Court. But maybe there's not people that want to get involved in managing a project, and that's why you have experts to do that. That's why you have project managers. That's why you have engineers. I understand that you want people to learn just what's coming, right, with all the new projects that they're going to be involved in. But to say that they have to take a project manager's class, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm in agreement on that. Again, because now you're infringing on what professionals do, and there's just so much a board can be responsible for. It's important that they take, I think, the class that we teach, because it basically certainly gives you...
Which she took, Julia.
Which Julia took, and I certainly appreciate her compliments. But to require more, it's tough.
Okay,
Go ahead, I'm
so
sorry.
my question is, we'll talk about it some later. My question is willful negligence. You gave example.
My question is willful negligence.
When,
Okay.
Somebody brings a safety issue to the board's attention and the board ignores it, and the safety issue is brought again. Blah 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 blah. How many?
What happens? Hold up. What happens if the? Wait. Hold on, Julia. So again, I'm taking your question in little bites. You bring safety issues to the board attention. You do it several times, and the board ignores you, right?
Bad idea.
Yes.
Right.
Bad idea.
How many times do you actually need to bring it to the board's attention before you can sue the bastards?
How many times do you have to bring it to the board's attention before you can actually sue? I think there's the bastards. I didn't want to repeat that, but that's what she said. Okay, so I think the answer to that question is how long did they know about it? You could bring it to the board's attention once.
Okay.
Once, just one time.
Yes.
And if it's a dangerous issue.
In a reasonable amount of time.
And they didn't fix it within a reasonable amount of time. I think that board is done. They're getting sued and, judgment for the plaintiff.
I think you're right.
So it could be just one time. Okay? So I hope that answers your question, Julia.
Thanks very much. Bye.
You got it. And thank you so much about the comments about the education classes.
Yeah, and that you missed me. The last caller from Estero that you guys didn't hear, I apologize, but he said that they had a new president because they had new board members elected, right?
Yes.
And that the president is someone who's new to the board, and he hasn't taken the education course.
Right. Okay.
He's got how many days to make sure that
So there's going to be a provision
Shouldn't you do it
in the
before
new
they
law.
have a meeting?
there's going to be a provision in the new law. People that may be on the board, they didn't ever take an education class. The law is going to go into effect, let's say July 1. So what happens with the people that are already on the board? They're going to have, I'm not sure of the exact date, but I want to say, I believe, till January 1st so it's going to be like between July and January 1st to get certified by taking a class.
But they made the new guy that was elected the president.
Right.
And so he has no clue about anything, and he's leading a meeting.
If he's never taken a class.
Shouldn't he have to take a class right away?
Hey, what can I tell you? This is the law. Look.
He doesn't even know if they have a quorum.
I'm not complaining. Okay. Remember, this bill is more than I asked for.
Yes.
This bill is not only going to require board members to get certified by taking an education class, but how about this? Continuing education each year, like lawyers and doctors. That's how much importance the legislature has now put on members of a board learning about how to manage their communities. Think about that.
Yeah.
We're going to make you go to school to get certified, and we're going to make you go to school every year.
Which you teach. It's free.
Yep.
And
so a building doesn't collapse, by the way.
That's right.
That's what all of this is about. It all started with Surfside. And I say this, what happened was the ultimate tragedy. The ultimate tragedy. You can't even imagine what happened. But the good that has come out of the tragedy is all these laws that you're now seeing in front of you. Those people died a horrible death, but if there's any of the families of the victims listening, they didn't die in vain.
That's right.
What they did to the state of Florida for now and forever, they changed the law forever. They've made Florida a much safer place. And what can I say? Their death did not go in vain. Absolutely. Correct. Incredible things have come out of that tragedy.
I think that hotels and office buildings also have to
Not from what I know, but that's what people in condominiums are freaking out at the moment. So you can have a condominium building of 7 stories, right? And that condominium building hits the 30-year mark, and they're going to have to go through milestone inspections or recertifications. Right next door to that condominium building is an office building that's 40 years old. That office building never has to go through any inspections of any kind. Because it's not a condominium. Kind of strange, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of bizarre. But look.
Are you sure?
Yes, that's the... Yes.
The defense's case does not hold water.
Well, that's what people in condominiums are freaking out about.
I'll bet. That's not right.
And look, we don't want, again, can't have buildings falling. And by the way, this is not just the state of Florida.
No, you're right.
That's going to have to follow this. New Jersey has already passed laws that mirror Florida.
It's funny how Europe doesn't have to have this. They've got 400, 500, 600, 700-year-old buildings that won't fall down.
Because it's made with stone.
Yeah.
We use cheap garbage crap.
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
To save money.
Yep.
To save money. Money is obviously put over lives. Speed is put over lives.
How come the plumbing's on the outside of the building? Because it's made of stone.
Yes.
500 years ago.
Right. Exactly. And that's the truth. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Hey, let's take our final break of the hour. 717-GLAZER-8, 717-GLAZER-8. Back right after this.
Former condo looking old, worn out, and in need of a fresh look? Then you need PD Painting to paint your property and make it look like new again. PD Painting will first properly prepare your home and condo and then use only the highest quality paint products. After many years in the painting industry, PD Painting has achieved a reputation for always delivering a reliable and professional finish. PD Painting is fully licensed and insured and offers a 7 to 10-year warranty. Their technicians are expert craftsmen. Let PD Painting handle all the details and then sit back and watch them restore your property and bring back that brand new look and feel. Need a service call? PD Painting will be there on the spot. Need financing? PD Painting can offer that too. Call PD Painting at 888-416-3204. Again, that's 888-416-3204. Go to the website pdpaintinginc.com. Need painting done in your home and community? Contact the experts at PD Painting.
This message is for anyone who has taken on the important responsibility of becoming an officer or director in a homeowner or condominium association. It is also for the management companies who work closely with these caring people to make sure things are done the right way. Hello, I'm Gil Pomar, South Florida Regional President for Center State Bank, now the second largest bank based in Florida. Our bank, Center State Bank, has an amazing team of professionals who are exclusively dedicated to the homeowner and condo association market. Your job is not easy. There are repairs and new projects that need financing. There are legal and social issues that need to be understood. There are also technology and servicing issues that your residents want to be improved. Why not choose a bank that knows this business backward and forward? Why not have a local banker who will meet with you face to face whenever it is convenient for you or your board? Center State Bank has over 2,000 associations as customers for a reason. Please give us a chance to earn your business. Call Terry Russo at 954-633-1666 to make it happen. Center State Bank is an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC.
Need an insurance evaluation, audit, or quotation for your condo association or homeowners association? If so, then you need to speak with our insurance experts at Mack Waltz. We insure over 800 associations, and we are the clear leader in this marketplace. Mack Waltz has been in business since 1989. We write insurance on billions of dollars of property values. We are an independent insurance agency representing insurance companies which specialize in condo and HOA insurance. The staff at Mack Waltz works closely with board members and property managers and regularly attends association meetings to help educate the association about their insurance policies. To learn more about how Mack Waltz can save you money and improve your insurance program, call now 954-640-6225 and ask for Greg Waltz. 954-640-6225. Mack Waltz Insurance Group. Let us protect your association.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs on our YouTube channel. And I just wanted to remind everybody that you are still teaching your classes. And in fact, in April, you'll be in Tampa, right?
Yes. So everybody keeps asking, when's the next one? What's the next one? I just finished. You know how hard it is to do 3 of these all over the state in 1 week? Yeah, it gets tough.
It has to
but
be.
We'll be
several
back.
hours, aren't you?
Oh, it's standing
and they
on my
want it to
feet.
be longer.
Yeah. You know what? That's not even the hard part. By the way, we do these questionnaires. How do you like the seminar? If I would tell you, hundreds and hundreds we got this week, and I suppose out of the hundreds and hundreds that we taught, several hundred said, well, what's the weakness? We asked, what's the weakness of the class? And the answer always is, it's too short.
Mm-hmm.
It's too short. And if that's not, an incredible compliment. So, the legislature is worried that board members might not run for the board if they're required to have an educational course. It's the ones that care, the ones that give a damn, right? It's just the opposite. They're complaining to me, why was it only 3 hours? Can't you make it more than 1 day? Can't you make it 2 days? Can't you make it? This is routine. This is routine. People are yearning for the education. I think it's wonderful. And
you've been doing this how many years teaching?
I don't know,
15?
40, something like that. It's been a great run, but
you teach
Tampa, April 1st.
Inspection.
Yep, there's so much to learn. Tampa, April 1st at the Tampa Convention Center.
Then Broward, your April 3rd, Broward Convention Center.
Right, and April 10th, the Palm Beach Convention Center, so 3 more to go. April 1st, April 3rd, April 10th, Tampa, Broward, and Palm Beach, and we'll be teaching all those topics that I yelled out before.
Yes.
Yeah, you can rest assured that all of
Documents, emotional support animal collections,
Yeah.
And if you want to register, just go to his website, condocrazeandhoas.com.
Right.
Condocraze
and we look forward to it. Okay, so we're still having some problems with the audio, so we're going to take the questions for now off of the chat box. So let's see what we got. Pablo writes in, question regarding recertification of a condo in Miami-Dade. Does inspection include inside of units, or is it focused on common elements area only? Okay, especially if you look at the new statute, the milestone statute, makes it clear that if the visual inspection of the unit, of the common elements, I should say, during the visual inspection, if it requires further testing, right? If there's signs of structural deterioration, and that engineer says, you know what, we need to go further here. We need to go into some units to see if the floors are sagging in the middle, or whatever it may be, then Pablo, the answer is that structural engineer who's doing your inspection absolutely has the right to go into the units.
Okay.
And by the way,
I did not know that, so I just learned something.
It's very common, by the way, while they're doing the structural repairs, right? If they need to get into a unit, chip out a portion of the flooring to fix the rebar, they can do that too.
That makes sense because we just had the fire alarm inspections, and they just come right into the
Absolutely,
unit.
of course. Doesn't the danger to the building doesn't end at your door to your balcony, right? It could be underneath your living room floor.
Right.
So if a structural engineer needs to get in there, they need to get in. By the way, one of the most common questions that come up all the time is, wait a minute, I put down beautiful Italian marble on my balcony.
On the balcony.
On the balcony. It's beautiful. It's, I spent a ton of money.
Yeah, but
I'm not letting them chip up my balcony. And by the way, if they do chip up and break my Italian marble, the board is paying me back, right?
No.
And the answer is no. What you put down after the fact is your problem to put back. So don't think for 1 second it's the association's responsibility to do so.
And why is that? Because the balcony is
a common element. Yeah, it's a limited common element, but it's a common element. So they put you put down some tile. Your problem to put back. The only exception to that,
AstroTurf.
No. And by the way, you mentioned AstroTurf.
Don't do that.
A lot of things. See how just one question leads into the other.
That's bad.
That's the worst thing you can do for a balcony. And I'm talking to board members out there. Never, ever, never, ever let unit owners put down that fake AstroTurf on a balcony. That stuff just absorbs water. The water sits on top of the concrete of the balcony and destroys it. So absolutely never let anybody put down fake grass. That's going to cause spalling. So you never want fake grass on a condominium. Okay?
Even if you want to have the little putting green.
No, right? If you want to practice your putts. Exactly. Robert writes in, great news that condo education is going to pass. Congrats, Eric. Really appreciate it. Ryan, Westwind Lakes is finally seeing justice. Unlicensed daughter was working as a cam under her mother. The president, who is still at large, and they took out millions in loans. Wow. 2 arrests made so far.
Wow.
It's, by the way, those of you may know Jan Bergman from ccfj.net. If you don't, you should. Jan Bergman started a website, or a group, I should say, called Cyber Citizens for Justice. Those of you who are listening right now should know all about this organization, Cyber Citizens for Justice. Please write this down, ccfj.net. It is an amazing website, totally amazing. You know how mine tries to have various different sections to educate people?
He does.
Well, so does Jan,
Yeah.
and it goes back forever. And there's so many...
That's hooked up at your website.
It doesn't go directly to his, no. But I'm telling you, write it down. Go to ccfj.net, check it out. And Jan right now has on his website several portions where directors are getting arrested all around the state. It's like contagious. I don't know what's happening, but there's lots of these stories going around right now.
I do have a question about night swimming. Is there a law that prevents people from having night swimming?
No, just like you said, about common elements, because the board can make reasonable rules and regulations regarding common elements. So the most reasonable rule that you hear when it comes to night swimming is from dawn to dusk. That's the most common.
If the gate's not locked and you go in there?
If the board passes a rule where it's dawn to dusk, the answer is no, you can't go in there. And oftentimes it's simply because the pool is next to a lot of units, and those units want quiet at dusk. So that's, typically why it's passed. And of course, there's no lifeguards on duty. Not that there's a requirement to have lifeguards, but maybe it's safer to swim during the day. But the bottom line is, from dawn to dusk is the most reasonable rule you'll see all around the state. That's the most common and certainly reasonable. Okay, nighttime swimming. Let's see. Gotta go to the calls. Who do we got? And I'll repeat it.
Oh,
he dropped him. All right, that's right.
Oh, I think there's actually a problem with the site, with the YouTube site itself, because I'm trying to
You also had
scroll
another
down
really good question.
and answer questions.
Remember the one
and
about
the site won't even work.
if you've got they want to redo the clubhouse fitness room, but they
Right.
don't have the money.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
it was
if
a
they
great
don't-
question.
If
Yes.
they don't have the money, but they are going to get the money in a few whatevers, months, years, whatever. But when you're selling your unit, does the estoppel
great
letter
question.
have to reflect that this money is going to eventually, if there's no exact amount?
This is a great question. You're selling your unit. The board passed a special assessment,
Right.
But they didn't tell you what the exact amount is, but you know it's
Oh, so
coming.
they did pass a special
Assessment,
but
but
they didn't have a total.
First of all, how can you
How do
pass
you
a
do
special assessment with no amount?
That doesn't make sense.
Okay, so under the law, when you send out a notice of a special assessment, by law, got to be 14 days in advance, number one. Number two, the amount of the special assessment has to be laid out.
Yeah.
It has to be very
So
specific.
then what do you do?
What is it for? How much is it going to be per unit? What is the money going to be used for? So the person who wrote in says it was passed, not legally. That's not really a special assessment, but it's kind of out there now, right? That there's a special assessment. So if I was representing the buyer in that situation, right?
The
and
buyer.
I knew that you just told me there's a special assessment of some kind. I'm
What
going
if
to
they
send.
didn't tell you?
Well,
Because they don't have the figure.
I'm going to send an estoppel letter to the association anyway. The association's going to fill it out and hopefully tell me, yes, a special assessment was passed,
But do they
but
have
we don't know how much.
Is the onus on them to tell you if there's no number?
If it's in the letter, yeah. If it's in your estoppel letter, absolutely.
Oh.
Okay? So they do have to disclose. But what are they going to
If your
disclose?
letter asks for something
They
that's
got to
pending.
disclose. Right. And by statute, they have to tell you as well. So, okay. So what is the board going to say? Well, we passed the special assessment, but we don't know the amount. So now you're the attorney for the buyer. What are you going to do? Because you know
It's
you're
like an open-ended
it's an
checkbook.
open-ended checkbook, right? So I think you can ask the board, what do you expect it to be? And let's say they expect it to be, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000. So if I'm representing the buyer, per unit. If I'm representing the buyer, I'm going to say to the seller, well, the only way we're closing here is if we escrow, let's say $4,000, right? And we see what the special assessment is. If it's 3,000, I'm going to take it from escrow, and seller will give you back the 1,000 at a later date. But if I'm representing the buyer, I want money escrowed at the closing
From the seller.
from the seller. So the seller's not going to get the total amount of the sale. They're going to get the total amount of the sale
So the
minus
buyer
this
is not going to
special
pay
assessment.
this money that's going to be assessed in the future.
Correct.
The seller will.
Correct. Exactly. That's what I'm doing if I represent
Okay.
the buyer in that scenario. Okay? And I think rather than pushing our luck, we're just about at the end of the show anyway. Okay? So, I want to really thank everybody for tuning in for yet another Sunday. Really apologize for the problem of not being able to hear us on YouTube. We will get it corrected next week. It won't happen again, I promise. I want to wish everybody a safe Sunday and a happy and healthy week. And we'll see you again next Sunday at 11 a.m. on Condo Craze and HOAs. Be well, everyone.